Hi, my name is Sheikh Juhid Tasneem. Today I am going to explain about types of memory, different types of memory, what is primary memory, what is secondary memory, what are the examples of primary memory, what are the examples of secondary memory. Let us discuss about them. Memory. Memory is electronic holding place for the instruction and the data for a computer needs to reach quickly. It's where information is stored, immediate use. Memory is one of the basic functions of computer because without it a computer would not able to function properly. Memory is also used by a computer operating system, hardware and software. Memory. There are technically two types of computer memory, primary memory and secondary memory. The term memory is used as a synonym for primary memory or an abbreviation for a specific type of primary memory called random access memory. The type of memory is located on microchips that are physically close to computer microprocessor. As we all know that memory is of two types, it is primary memory and secondary memory. Primary memory is nothing but a RAM where we store the data. And secondary memory is also a used to store data. Let us discuss briefly about these types of memories. If a computer central processor unit has to use secondary memory, then computers would not become much slower. In general, the more memory, primary memory, a computing device has the less frequently the computer must access instructions and data from slower from the storage. As we store the data in the secondary memory, computers would not becomes very slower. Types of memory. In general, memory can be divided into two types, primary memory and secondary memory. Moreover, there are numerous types of memory. When discussing just primary memory, some types of primary memory include the following. Let us discuss about primary memory and secondary memory. Cache memory. This is a temporary storage area known as cache. Is more readily available to the processor than the computer's main memory source. It is also called as CPU memory because it is integrated directly into CPU chip or placed on a separate chip with a bus interconnect with the CPU. RAM. The RAM indicates the abbreviation of the RAM is random access memory. The term is based on a fact that any storage location can be accessed directly by the processor. DRAM. Here the abbreviation of the DRAM is dynamic random access memory. It is a type of semiconductor. Here dynamic random access memory is a type of semiconductor memory. It is used by the data or program code needed by the computer processor to function. Static memory, SRAM, static random access memory, retains data bits it's in memory for a long as power is supplied to it. Unlike DRAM, which stores bytes in cells consisting of capacitor and a transistor, SRAM does not have periodically refreshed. Double data rate HDRM. DDR SRM is HDRM that can theoretically improve memory clock speed at least 200 MHz. Double data rate 4 synchronizes dynamic RAM, DDR4 RAM. Here DDR4 indicates double data rate 4 synchronized dynamic random access memory. Is a type of RAM means dynamic access memory, dynamic random access memory that has high bandwidth interface and it is a successor to its previous DDR2 and DDR3. DDR4 RAM allows for lower voltage requirements and higher module density. It is coupled with higher data rate transfer speed and allows for dual inline memory modules DIMMs, dual inline memory modules up to 64 GB. Here DIMS indicates dual inline memory module. Rambus Dynamic RAM, DRAM. He is a memory subsystem that promised to transfer up to 1.6 billion bytes per second. The subsystem consists of RAM, the RAM controller, the bus that connects RAM to microprocessor and devices in the computer that uses in it. Read-only memory. Here, ROM indicates read-only memory is a type of computer storage containing non-volatile permanent data. Normally, it can be read, not written. ROM contains the programming that enables a computer to start up or regenerate each time it is turned on. Programmable ROM (PROM) is a ROM that can be modified once by user. It enables a user to tailor a microcode program using a special machine called a PROM programmer. Erasable PROM, EPROM. Here EPROM indicates erasable PROM. Programmable read-only memory. PRO indicates programmable read-only memory. EPROM indicates erasable programmable read-only memory that can be erased and reused through a window designed in a microchip. Electrically erasable PROM (EEPROM) is a user-modifiable ROM that can be erased and reprogrammed repeatedly through a application of higher than normal electrical voltage. Unlike EEPROM chips, EEPROM do not need to be removed from computer to be modified. Virtual memory, a memory management technique where secondary memory can be used as if it were a part of main memory. Virtual memory uses hardware and software to enable a computer to compensate for a physical memory storages by temporarily transferring data from RAM to disk storage. Evolution of memory. In earlier 1940, memory was only available up to a few bytes of space. One of more significant signs of process during this time was invention of memory. This technique enabled delay lines to store bits as sound waves in mercury. This process could store a few 100,000 bits. In late 1940s, non-volatile memory began to be researched and magnetic core memory, which enabled the recall of memory after a loss of power was created. By 1950, the technology have been improved and led to invention of PROM in 1956. Magnetic core memory became so widespread that it was main form of memory until 1960s. Metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor, also known as MOS. Here MOS means metal oxide semiconductor memory, was invented in 1959. This enabled the use of MOS transistors as elements from memory cell storage. MOS memory was cheaper and needed less power compared to magnetic core memory. Bipolar memory, which used bipolar transistors, started being used in 1960. Bob Norman in 1960 proposed the concept of solid-state memory being used in integrated circuit chip. IBM brought memory into mainstream in 1965. However, users found solid-state memory to be too expensive to use at the time compared to other memory types. Other advancements during the early of mid-1960 were the invention of bipolar SRAM. The DRAM in 1965, the commercial use of SRAM in 1965. The single transistor of DRAM cell was developed in 1966, followed by MOS semiconductor device used to create RAM in 1967. From 1968 to 1967, N-type MOS metal online semiconductor memory was started become popular. In 1970, MOS-based memory started becoming much more widely used as a form of memory. In 1970, Intel has the first commercial DRAM IC chip, integrated circuit chip. 1 year later, PROM was developed and EEPROM was invented in 1972. Thank you.